The roller coaster has ended, and all the people have to get off the ride. Where did they get off? In the UK. 500 votes! 500! Damn, that's how you know your prime minister hates its own people and stuff. It's like, that is like Normandy invasion levels of people coming in your country. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Azure News. Usually, I'd do a response video or a kind of like parody-esque video clowning rehab room, and I'll get into that. Actually, I'll get into it now because it's like whatever. Oh, before I forget, so rehab room makes a video, and of course, instead of right accepting it, right, like it's kind of weird how he sees himself and like the people who watch his channel as people who I don't know have unfortunate appearance issues, and I can relate to that. But with that being said, um, they don't understand that like even though they have these issues, like there's more to relationship than looks. And instead of being mature about it, like last week I said the salvation, right? Salvation means like you've been saved. You're you're happy. It's over the pain, the suffering. And then like if you don't want it, then what does that mean? Well, the unfortunate reality of that, ladies and gentlemen, is I don't think inceldom is an actual thing. Like it's like a made up word that people use because the reality is some people have to settle for the people that um, are also in the same boat as them, and even though they aren't like nobody likes to admit it. Like I don't want to wake up one day and then because of some unfortunate accident, like I'm in that book and category, and then it's like permanent and I can't like get away from it. You know what I mean? Like that would be, but like I'll come to terms with it, make peace with it, accept it, and then just move on, right? If I can, right? If I can't come to terms with it, and I don't think like people can actually ever really or truly ever really make peace with it because it's very much, an ego thing. And if the ego isn't allowed to accept love or the differences of people, and you're just trapped. And in that case, why should excuse me, why should people like that have children? Because it's just like they're just so sour, like they're just gonna push it off on their kids. So here we are, the exodus of the incels, all going to the UK. 500 votes. 500. 5. Keir Starmer does not love his country at all. Trump is making fun of him. Mark Carney and all these like liberalist presidents, leaders of countries, prime ministers, etc. To their faces, to like to the media, all that stuff. Still, I won't like hold them in high regard until like the Epstein stuff is solved. And like everyone's like showing me pictures of like Trump and like Epstein and like whatever. And I'm just like, okay, show me the facts. Like, show me. Every single time I go to see these videos, it's just like propaganda because it's like, oh, you did this, so I would click this video. You fucking asshole. But that's neither here nor there because the incels. Well, there's two kinds, right? Like the women and the male incels. And it's like the male incels just like can't love the female incels. And the female incels don't mind being used by the attractive men. Or at least the men that they deem attractive. It's this weird circus of like, insanity that like you have to like give it to people who've used or like grew up using like dating websites. Like they are that like very much malaise of society that unfortunate as it is, like they do make up a sizable number of the population. So it is like in your best interest to understand them, or at least you know meet them halfway. And in the case of this T app, right? My mouth is a little dry. 1 second. In the case of this T app, right? Now, I am very much an advocate for the safety of women on and offline, right? There's no circumstance where, and it shouldn't be funny. Like, the person who leaked that information should have just kept the pictures. Like, should have left out the names, whatever. How did you even get the weight? That's weird. People are weird. I don't know. Maybe the program needed it or something. And it's just like another way to like insult people. Unfortunate, unfortunate. Um, yeah. So it turned on the women who used this T app, and some of them had some very vicious things to say about various male folk, and also like it's funny how like rehab room always has something vicious or nasty to say about the female folk, or just too much into this like post idealistic attitude that what's that post so, what was I saying again? Well, whatever, right? Like this kind of like belief that if we're going to be honest with ourselves, that nobody should be judging each other on both sides, but even in secrecy, when it is done, we can like really draw parallels between these two people and why I think it's more or less like people have this like I have this like image in my head of people going into a movie theater, right? And they have to put on like these 3D glasses or like these special kind of glasses to see the movie. And it's so surreal that they're actually in the movie and they don't know that after a while. And I think that's what people have become. This almost forgetfulness that they are a part of the show, they're not starring in the show. Like we're all basically like, part of this planet, but we're not starring in it. And that generation of people who like I think it's more or less the ease of access, right? When you have a society that grew up with like, I remember there's this phone. It was before my time, to be fair, and it's like you take the thing and you can hold it counterclockwise and you turn it, and then that's how you make the numbers on your phone, and so you dial the phone number. Oh yeah, you go from that and like regular landline phones to cell phones and stuff. Oh my goodness, it was such a technological leap. And then like the internet age, and then people having things like easily and most conveniently delivered to them. And then subsequently, as I pointed this out before, the pornographic age, and the pornographic age, unfortunately, led to with young men the proliferation of well their perversions, right? And why, for the most part, the UK, and I think I joked about this in the previous video, but it's very serious. The measures required for usage of said material in all of the European Union, if I'm not mistaken now. So like it's a their version of federal law. So I guess federal law or crown law, whatever they call it over there. It's like the European Union. Like I think it will be like federal law. It's like different nations and stuff. But again, like if you access these certain websites without proper identification, requiring driver's license, facial recognition. So like your driver's license has to have your face, but you also have to have your face on a webcam, and then credit card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they want to know where you live and all that stuff you're spending, all that stuff, blah blah blah. And they also want to know your purchase history. So like the kinds of websites that you visit and the things that you buy. So like if you're like, a dangerous person and you're like buying lots of firearms or you're like into like knives or stuff. Like, oh yeah, and they banned knives in Germany. Like what's that gonna do? Yeah, of course you don't want people to have knives. It's still gonna have like take them and stuff, right? I saw this one like video out of Ireland. This guy literally runs this like migrant motherfucker, dude. Like, god damn it. For people who say like unlimited migration, this is the end result, right? So it's like security guard. It's not even a police officer. It says Garda on his back, so it's like that's this security uh, company. This guy just comes up to him randomly and just stabs him in the back. I saw it, it was so insane, like out of nowhere, bam, just like stabs him. And the reason why I saw this is because there's this lady and she was doing an interview and she's just like talking normally and then like these two security guards pass by her and then the migrant just like runs up behind the security guard and as she's like speaking, casually, normally, whatever, talking into the camera, like out of frame, this happens and it's like, oh my god, like what the hell. Wow. Yeah, the incel exodus is upon us. The Islamic incels from the Middle East that were bastardized and like have no future, no hope, are coming into Europe to rape the white women as they do. And speaking of which, yeah, Ethan Klein has unleashed, you know, Beelzebub, his Jewish lawyer, the devil from the I don't know Jewish hell. I don't know jack shit about Jewish hell, but it's just like whatever. So anyways, Frogan has been avoiding or trying her best to avoid getting sued. Denims has pretty much ratted out like everybody. So in a vain attempt to try to stay safe, and I don't know how effective that's going to be in the deposition or whatever it's called. And other people, like the people who send the skulls, all these people are going to get named publicly. Oh my goodness. We're going to get to see faces. We're going to get to, like, know age. Well, I think we know the age. I think he's like 37 or like some old ass age and shit. Like really old for doing stupid stuff like that. It's like, can you imagine the shadow of someone? Like you have a wife, a kid, you're trying to like, live your life. And some guy like, around your age is just like alone home with this mom. Oh, this is the best. This is the best. This is the best. Yo, so this guy, he gets caught, right? I know I talked about it before, but I just have to say it again because it's funny. So he lives with his dad, right? And he posts like insane amounts of tweets per day, like in too many tweets for him to be like any form of productive. Like he's just like he's an insane person at this point, or like like an effeminate girl, but he's a guy. Yeah, hyper tweeters as they call. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. I repeat, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Uh, uh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I suffer from some sort of technical difficulties. Apparently, I've been making so many videos that like there's this cache or like memory that all my previous videos have, and then I can't like do any more voiceovers. I'm like getting a limit, and I never had that starting off, so I think I have to start cleaning up my old previous videos one after the other. But okay, so back to what I was saying before I got cut off, a minute before the end of the last clip. So like, yeah, this person who's like tweeting all the time, Ethan Klein, and pretty much everybody, about all this false shit. Like, yeah, he got found out, literally, unemployed, lives with his dad. He doubles back and he's like, no, I take care of my dad. I'm like, dude, how do you take care of your dad and like do that much tweeting at the same time? It's like if he was bedridden or whatever the hell he said. You said he was. It's just like a guilt trip, obviously, to cover for how much of a loser you are. And this is Hassan's like his posse, his monitors, the people who are magnetically attracted to him because like they can smell the idea of like imagine you're in that position, but you're like a moderator for like a professional boxer, like a dancer or whatever, like an athlete. And then he finds out you're some like, guy who just like stays at home and like, doesn't do anything, like tweets like 7 times an hour or something like that. Oh my goodness. The loser time. And like Hassan's life like side is completely lost. Like legally and morally. Morally bankrupt. I heard just recently. Oh, by the way, holla at your boy more Pegasus. I heard just recently that Mike from PA, or Mike PU, as Ethan called him, roasting him and stuff, he just got banned. I think it's like, going to be semi-permanent or permanent. He's talking about, like, it's not going to be that long and all that stuff. And it's just like, yeah, that's your side. That's all. Like, you lost. The insult exodus is here. And I just like went over the story. It's apparently a lot more than just 500 votes. 500 was like the last report, but apparently have like a significant, a larger amount that are coming through. And it's like they all want white women. I'm gonna make a video about that. Now they know about that memory shit. So I'm always freaking out, like someone's watching me. Oh my god, they don't want me to post about all these racist things that I say and all this bullshit. I was like, nah, dude, I'm just like lazy and don't delete anything. That's kind of weird because it's like if I have hard drive space, sorry, M2 NAND drive space, shouldn't I be able to hold like unlimited amount of like whatever? Well, even though I already talked about like Intel TV and like the whole disassociation he has with like his side. And I call it his side because how are you gonna say that people who vote alike, think alike, probably have the same level of delusions? Although, let's be honest, like, for a guy to look a certain way, it's easier than it is for a girl because a girl can just, like, gain weight very easily or just, like, very much deviate from the standard norm of appearance. And although guys can, like, fall into that category also, I think we're just way too hypercritical about appearances, and that's why these girls don't mind being used by these people on this website, T app, these gentlemen's, but they're not so gentle. Like they use these women, and these women let them use them because the alternative is sleeping with rehab room or like his chat, his comment section. And I bring this up because okay, so I don't know if Rehab Room watches my stuff or whatever, but he's like yeah, because I used to like post like nonstop in his comment section about like video games that I want to play, and he actually responded to a couple of my things because I think he knows that I'm genuine about like how I want to play video games and how I find that fun for me or whatever, and I just couldn't get through to him. And on top of not being able to get through to him, right? Like, there's this guy that he was showing off on the T app, right? And it's a Sikh guy. And I don't know if like he thinks that I'm Sikh too because like my last name is Singh or whatever. Because he probably like found my Instagram page or just like, did like a cursory glance of the Azure spectrum. Found out where I lurked. Found out my ongoings. So apparently this female who's dumping all this shit on this guy, this random Sikh guy. Uh, so he like, he likes to masturbate a lot. He has like a porn addiction. Um, he like cheats on her, and like this is coming from like the perspective of like student international student visas. So try to understand that like first of all, these people they don't come in the country. They don't have like a proper background check. Like it's just impossible. Like physically, if we're talking about a country of like nearly like a billion, and like yeah, up north there in Punjab, Pakistan land, Afghan land, like it's just shy of that 1 billion. It's more like a couple hundred million, but that's still a couple hundred million, right? So you translate that to like a system that's like already corrupted, broken. Like no one knows who anybody is. And like it's the danger of letting people in, right? Like these boats are like being let into the country, like this is how your prime minister like hates on you and stuff. And it's not that much different from Trudeau, to be fair. Like getting these skilled workers, like Russia's gonna get a wake up call, right? Like these guys come in and they'll use like their own females on their own people to like knock them up and stuff, or like try to start a false family, like for the paperwork. And then like yeah, they're just being like the goofy ass fiends that they are. And I gotta point this out because it's like he ain't like cheating on in the in the classic sense. Like oftentimes, like the ease of access of prostitution is something that like has to be taken into account, right? And in the case of like popping off on incel room, aka I mean sorry, incel TV, otherwise known as Rehab Room's channel. Like it's a big like I see you moment from your incel father, Rehab Room. You know the Sikhs have gotten their incel recognition. Like, and it's not the first time. I remember this one time, this guy donated in his chat, and I'm like, what the hell? Why are you donating for it? But whatever. It's the incels. They like to, band together. Lonely Friday nights, Saturday nights. Like, to be fair, I'm in that boat too, but like, I have an excuse of like, whatever. I gotta deal with this face situation. Also gotta lose some weight, gain some muscle. So I have, reasons to like avoid the outside world. Although I do tend to take a lot of pictures on my Instagram, but like the sad like realization that Europe is just gonna be like this no man's land. Well, I mean, not my like. There's gonna be tons of men. That's not. I mean, but it's like you can't necessarily have a family. You can't have like father children. Everybody around you is just jealous of you, and then any moment like your own kids could get sexually assaulted. Kids, man. The depravity of that kind of like horrifying bad society that UK is just like plummeting towards, uncontrollable, death, decay, madness. But I guess it was like, a long time coming because the exodus of the incels is possibly going to be one of those things that goes down in history as the most necessary thing for mankind to reshape itself. Like, I'm not afraid, because even if I die, that just means that, like, I wasn't good enough. But, like, I'm gonna go out swinging no matter what. They're such easy targets, too. And the government wants to protect them.